Hey, it's Katherine from Brandequip Designs, and I want to talk to you a bit about creativity because I believe that the word creative has been misused to the point that creativity has lost its definition. And we need to redefine it or get back to the original definition of what it means to be creative in order to really understand that everyone has the potential to be creative, whether or not you're good at making and building things. Okay, so honestly, my whole thing with this started in high school and I honestly had a bit of a beef with the word creative for a long time. And you're probably sitting there like, hold the phone, what do you mean? And the truth is that yes, I am a creator. That is one of my top archetypes. I am a creative person, but until I defined what creativity really is, I really did not feel comfortable with owning that aspect of myself. And the reason why I have that issue and why this came up in the first place is because I've always had a really amazing, I hate to toot my own horn, but I've always had artistic talent. And so throughout my formative years, I was taking art classes and really producing beautiful works. And people would always come up and tell me like that you're so creative. And I would sit there and be like, I was just doing what I saw or like interpreting how I was feeling. It's not about trying to think differently. It was just about expressing myself. And so I believe that when it came to art, I had artistic talent, but people started to really call it creativity, and I did not feel that that was an appropriate use of the word. And I see that happening a lot. A lot of people think that creativity is about whether or not you can make something and make it beautiful. And that's not true. I believe that creativity is really a point of view. It's you look at the world and see things that other people don't. It's more about seeing boundaries as a jumping off point rather than a limitation. And you can be creative and not have a lick of talent at actually making things. For an example, you look at the phone. Just look at the phone. I'm a 90s child, and I would challenge you to think back to the 90s when we still used landlines. That was like still the thing to do, and the wireless landline was like the cool phone to have. Remember? And then cell phones started becoming more popular, and suddenly what a phone is, what a phone has been a means to connect with someone, to make a phone call and talk with someone who's miles away, right? And then when the cell phone came out, texting became a thing. And now the definition of a phone is not just to call, but to text, right? And then you cut to today, and pretty much everyone has a smartphone, it seems like. But someone, somewhere, had to look at the phone, the standard phone, and say, okay, a phone must be able to call someone, and that's it. And then, when you look at the cell phone, a phone must be able to call someone and text someone, and that is what makes a phone a phone. If it can't do that, it's not a phone. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. But then they said, okay, now that we know what we need to have to make a phone, what else can we do to it to make it even better? And that thought, that idea, that spark is basically the definition of creativity, in my opinion. It's looking at, okay, this is the parameters of what a phone is. Now, what can we do differently? And honestly, apparently there's been a lot of talk about whether or not creativity is being killed by technology. And I think it's a bit silly because that's just not recognizing the true definition of what creativity really it means. So no, in my opinion, technology is not limiting our creativity because creativity isn't about artistic talent. It's not about the ability to make things. It's about being able to think differently. And honestly, with technology, we have access to more ideas that can help inspire us to think about new ways of doing things, about taking things further than we have before. When it comes to websites and development, coding is really just another canvas. As an artist and a developer, I truly believe that, because I can literally take a blank canvas and put something there that was never there before, the same way that I can take a blank website page and put something there that didn't exist before. It's the same kind of deal. It's just a different medium. And so, yeah, creativity is about a point of view, not about being able to make things. And that definition is really important. And the meaning of creativity isn't about making things, it's about thinking differently. And so even though I am a creator archetype, I would argue that many of the archetypes within the 12 have access to high creative potential. For a couple of examples, the Maverick, they're very creative. I would honestly get a little bit confused sometimes on whether it's the Maverick in someone that is being a creative or the creator in someone that is being a creative. Another really highly creative archetype is the entertainer, because they look at the world and they're like, you know what, I can find a way to poke fun at this and to show people how we're being silly. And they think differently. We all have the potential to think differently, and that itself is creative. So that is kind of why I had a beef with the term creativity. I think that in general, we have lost the meaning of creativity, and I'm hoping that we can start bringing it back to meaning what it was always meant to mean, which is creativity is born out of structure. It is born out of having parameters for something and then taking it beyond that and thinking of different ways to do things. And that's really what it's all about. So you don't have to know how to make something. You don't have to be artistically talented. You don't have to be able to make pretty things in your life. As long as you think differently and push the boundaries as to what is possible, you are a creative person. So that is my tidbits for today. What I learned today. It's been a passion thought of mine for a little while, so I'm happy to get that out there, and I would love to hear what you guys think on the matter, if you agree, if you disagree, and why. And yeah, let's just kind of start having this conversation. Just comment below. I'll talk to you later.